Oh, hey guys, it's Friday. It's the last day of the school holidays and we're just about to head out. Oh, we Jax.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi.
All right, so wanted to have a chat to you about the Brisbane property market just before I nip out. Just here locally, Brisbane, much of the news that people have been seeing and reports on the state of the market, how we are expecting a decline in property prices of up to around 40%, which in my opinion is slightly misleading. Now, the media do like a good story and they do tend to stir everybody up into a bit of a frenzy with scary headlines and predictions, and mainly to increase their own sales and ratings. The truth is, do they know this for a fact? And what are they basing their opinions on? So we see and hear this every few years and it always fizzles out with no accountability. What the market tends to do is make people nervous about their own situation. And I've got many people asking all the time, as we all do, how is the market? How's it going at the moment? And is it the right time to buy? Is it the right time to sell? As always, it comes down to what kind of property do you own? So whether it be a unit, a townhouse, a family home, riverfront property, a farm or even a business. So each market needs to be looked at differently. Many buyers are worried, okay, well if I buy now, the chances are the market will go down even further. My question would be, well, how will you know that the market has gone down? Because by the time you've realised, it's already started to go back up again and you've already missed the boat. So I don't see how that strategy can work at all. Buyers at one point were worried that prices would spiral out of control and they would not be able to afford to buy in this market. Now, this obviously happened in Sydney and a little bit here in Brisbane, although I do agree it might still be the case. Unaffordability is quite big as well in Brisbane for many buyers because the prices are quite high, especially when compared to other parts of the world. So it is getting more and more difficult for young people to be able to secure their first home because, as we know, Australia is one of the most expensive suburbs to buy, most expensive countries to buy in, should I say. So when we break it down into states and cities, we can see that there's a large difference. For example, Sydney's property prices definitely did spiral out of control very quickly. It did not happen here in Brisbane. In fact, Sydney prices increased by about 40% and are now slowly declining. In many markets, there's been a 5 to 10% decline in values this year alone, and in some areas, might even see a 5 to 7% drop. Obviously, none of us have got a crystal ball, and we can't guarantee what will happen down the track unless we hit another GFC, which seems a bit extreme at this point. Brisbane hasn't gone up like this, it's always moved slowly. So I believe the market in Brisbane is stabilising and we might even see a possible increase into next year. So now, the property bubble that the media say we're in at some point will burst. That, like I said, comes around every few years to stir everybody up and create a panic and a bit of news. But Brisbane hasn't seen a dramatic and sudden price increase like the other states. So the chances of a burst bubble are quite slim. So for the property to decrease by, the market to decrease by 40% would be a major financial catastrophe worldwide. Now we need to look at what would actually take place for this to happen. So the world and the country has lots of contingencies to keep the economy stable. 2 out of 3 Australians at the moment actually own their own homes. 1 in every 3 have the homes fully paid off and own nothing, which is a pretty solid number and probably surprising to many people. Many baby boomers, so people sit around the 60s, are helping children with getting into the property market with deposits, guarantees, as well as buying a property together, dual living in the granny flat, or even leaving the children their most valuable assets when they die. So Australians are wealthier than ever before through their property or other assets or inheritance. Now, statistically, the average Australian is worth $395,000, which is a record high. So that's pretty high compared to other countries. The factors that we're experiencing today, I suppose, that might affect the property negatively or positively, well, the economy is strong. There's low levels of unemployment, there's record low interest rates, as well as definitely continued overseas immigration and investment. So if none of those are likely to significantly change in the future, Australian real estate is definitely one of the best investments in the world, and I don't see that changing. So if you're a buyer and you're concerned you might be paying too much for a property, think about the long term. So even if we do see a slight drop, it will only be temporary and values will definitely continue to increase. Obviously, it's a wonderful country that we're in, so that can't change. Now, if as a seller, should I say, if you're concerned about the value going down, just remember that when you're coming to buy, you're actually buying in the same market. So although you may have made a loss, the property that you're buying, they would have also made a loss. And remember the reasons that you're moving. So we've seen positive growth, and there's properties sitting on the market, yes, but this also happened when the market went a little crazy. At the end of the day, if a property is not priced correctly, presented at its best, or marketed how it should be in today's marketplace, then of course it'll sit there with no interest. I mean, that's got to happen. But this is this time right now where we can't be greedy with our ask price. We can still set records, but we need to be realistic with our expectations and our time frames. So every property is different, needs to be treated this way, but if it's handled correctly, it will sell. In the last 3 weeks, I've personally sold 2 townhouses, 3 units in 2 very different homes, from round about the mid to high fives to between 1 and 1.5. So in each case, the buyers were there and wanting to purchase. So what we've got to remember is there's always someone willing to sell and to buy in whatever market. And if the time sometimes doesn't sound right because the media says so, well, it doesn't mean that this is actually the case. So call me if you've got any questions. I'd love to talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.